Okay, I recorded this once already without sound. It kind of sucked, but I made a render to talk about for this video. It's probably not very helpful just to do that, but we'll start it up. I hit full screen, hopefully it's still recording. But I made a cheap background. It's this plane over here. You might have to ignore the other mouse because I'm just trying to give a quick little tutorial type thing without it actually being a tutorial. It's just kind of something cool you can do. But I took a plane and put a video on it. You can ask Gemini or another AI how to do that real fast. It takes like 5 seconds. And then I wanted to display it through glass, which, as you can see here, is the glass. And the video is animated, so the trees move. But it's, instead of having an entire 3D background, it's just a plane of a render that I made myself. So it's not like you can go download it, but it's just trees that I used that come with Blender, really. Some water. I put some tubes in the bottom of the water, or the surface of the water, and had them spin so it kind of looks like it's moving around. It's just the fastest way to get a nice little background image, but it took me a few days to render it. And then I was playing with the glass, and I believe I just showed that. Yeah. So you have to do his shadow ray and his transmission ray into a math node that's set to add, and you drop that in. Oops, I keep forgetting I'm in the video thing and not Blender. But you combine glass with transparent BDS or things in the shaders. The factor is where you plug the other thing into, as you can see. The math node gets plugged into the factor. And I just found that on a Reddit post or something, I don't remember. But that made it so that it has this sort of zoom effect, which I try to show off a little bit. And as you can see, that playing with the video, it's just I curved it slightly and dragged it, like I dragged the edges forward, Control plus to select another vertex, dragged it forward. It's only a few vertices. I can actually just pull that up real fast. I'm done editing that little piece of video I needed. I'm not going to save it, I don't need to. I'm going to call it In My Room. But you can see it's nothing special, it's not very big or nothing. I slid it over because I don't like some of the... I don't like this tree as much as I like the green tree. I think the green tree came out a lot nicer. It's just a quick little render though, but I mean, come think, I don't even know why I did it in that format, but whatever. Well, it could be a little easier to read. There, maybe that'll help somebody out better. But the whole point is I want to have a character in this room, but I don't want all of my resources spent on the background. Like this grass down here was strands, like hair, like an empty hair that I turned into grass. And then the trees themselves are super laggy, so you can only have a few of them on my PC. I ended up erasing a lot of them, but there's like trees behind trees a little bit. Not very many, but I called most of it. And these were just cylinders that are rotating. They're all facing the same direction, but it did like a hashtag frame thing, which is pretty much identical to what I got going on here. It's just this. So it would spin on the frame as the frames go, but in this case it's going to spin the gem. There, probably easier to see it like this because it's reflecting everything, because I have it set to the exact same material as the window. But it's my intent to turn this into a set so I can make a little show thing. Yeah, if you're OCD, you should probably close your eyes. I'm not. Let's see. I have a lot of video game assets. There it is. Not entirely sure why I can't move him. I must be hiding something. Yeah, that was one of the very first models I've ever made. Long time ago. No, and here's a render I made too. I even used a program a few times. So here, let me show you. It's only a second. Where's it at? Where's the original? I think this is the original. But it looks terrible, really. It's really fast. This is a newer model of the same one. All the textures are just placeholders for where that zooms in on his eye and then it reverses. But you saw how choppy it was. So then I got, what is that program even called? Where are you? Brand new, so I don't really know where I did with that. Flow frames. So you can get flow frames right off of Google. It's a free program and it interpolates. So you put your video in here, set your output thing, and it has a speed setting. You can slow down a video, speed it up, and it's supposed to interpolate the frames. So like I did it once at maximum to get 240 frames. There we go. And you can see it's a lot smoother, but it's ultimately the exact same video. I feel like this is the only proper way to really use AI. Worried about here though, it gets choppy again. But it's not bad. Not bad at all. So here's the same thing but slowed down. I would just redo the music track. But at the same time, I can go play back and speed it up. Well, let me stop being dumb for a second. I know there's a hotkey for it, but I don't remember what it is. But now here it is in like real time. And I could make an additional render of this to get it back to 60 FPS and smooth, and then interpolate it again until I finally have what I want. That's the neat part about this. But it's entirely free. I like free. But it did look a little messed up on a few frames, but I'm not actually going to use this for anything. I was just using it for a test because I made the render to show somebody when I was trying to get a job at some place, and they're like, well, what can you do? And I'm like, well, here, let me throw this together with some 80s music since he's, you know, my age. I got that job too. It was nice. The Infinity. But I'm just gonna put an actor just like him sitting in the chair. I still need to make a TV and stuff. My plan is just to make a few YouTube videos where he's talking about the things that are taking place on the TV. So I animate him doing stuff, and then he's on a TV over here, zoomed in, showing you what I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah. You know, I need to make the room bigger, probably on that side. But I thought this glass thing alone was a very interesting thing, because I went from having no FPS, unless I hit like the check mark up here for the trees and the grass and stuff. When you hit the check box, it unloads everything that's within the collection. So you should free up your GPU if you're trying to make multiple things happen in the same scene. Let me just frame that. That's the house, not the window. But I thought it was dope. Just because, like, I made this myself. Because it was... I don't know if I can even show this to you without it crashing out. That's what it was. This is exactly what it was. So, like, the trees... Let's see what happens. Oh, why aren't they appearing? They should appear. Alright, so there's the same set. Okay, I was down the check marks. I was going to use this, and then I realized I couldn't. There was just no way. It wasn't happening. There's just no shot. Like maybe if I had a better computer. Here's an example of the spinning things I put in the water to animate it fast. You know, it's probably too many vertices, but it did the job. It certainly did the job. Because I extracted every other square, subdivided it, and then smoothed it. Because they were sticking out too far. With that little bit of variation combined with some shade smooth. I believe that's what I did with shade smooth, yeah. So if I shade it flat, it goes back to this. Because I did have it in an array, but the whole array spun around, so I just duplicated them for that. Then, like, you know, this is the water. And then I made like a little mountain. Not the best, but it's something. But yeah, all of that turned into the window I had. And as you can see, it's much nicer. Much nicer. It played and run it, you know, 30 FPS. It's awesome. It's essentially the exact same scene. Window could be better, I suppose. And this is not even a... No, the angle of the picture could probably be in a better spot, I suppose, but... A very little draw on my GPU from that. Should be able to get by with this just fine.